Hello, everyone. Sorry, I'm a little bit late tonight. We had some technical problems. So tonight we are going to continue. Let me switch earphones here. Sorry. We're going to continue on the study of the thought adjusters, paper 107. We're in section 2, classification of adjusters, and it's on in the original book. Talking to me. 107, section 2, episode 1. Section 1. Okay, does everybody still see me?
Yeah. For some reason, you're starting to glitch out a little bit.
Am I? Okay, let me go reset my audio again.
It's not bad, but it's noticeable.
Speakers good. Okay. How about the mic? Hang on. Let me change to.
Yeah, sounds good.
Is that good then?
Yeah. It looks good to me. Yeah.
Is that better? It looks good to me.
Yes.
Okay. Let's switch back to bad. Is that as good?
Yes.
Huh? Worse? Better?
That looks fine.
Yeah.
Better.
Good. Okay, well, I'm going to stay on that mic since I spent so much money on it.
Maybe we need to take it back and trade it in.
I don't think they take these back. Okay, here we go. So we're in section 2, classification of the adjusters. And we talked a little bit about this last time, about the different types of adjusters, some of them being virgin and some of them being not virgin. We're going to go through this tonight and you're going to be able to see this. So here we go. Let's have Diane start out. Would you take the first one, Diane?
Okay. 2, classification of adjusters.
I can't hear you, dear. Are you unmuted?
Unmute.
Okay.
2, classification of adjusters. Adjusters are individuated as virgin entities and are all destined to become either liberated, fused, or personalized monitors. We understand that there are 7 orders of thought adjusters, although we do not altogether comprehend these divisions. We often refer to the different orders as follows.
Okay, they're going to break down the different orders, but before we get off this very little introduction of this paragraph, I want to point out that they're talking about the 3 different futures of virgin's adjusters here, and that is to either become liberated adjusters, and in other words, they're freed from the assignment as a thought adjuster, a fused adjuster with a mortal or type of being, and then we have the personalized adjusters, which was what happened to Jesus's adjuster. Remember that? He became a personalized adjuster. So, but there are other destinies, and these are called liberated adjusters, and I wanted to point that out. So we're going to go through the 7 orders of adjusters here. Go forward, and here's a little picture of a cherubim, not jesters. Okay, I want to make sure that's clear. Okay, virgin adjusters. Rodney, would you take this one, please?
Yes. 1, virgin adjusters, those serving on their initial assignment in the minds of evolutionary candidates for eternal survival. Mystery monitors, which is an adjuster, are eternally uniform in divine nature. They are also uniform in experiential nature as they first go out from divinity. Subsequent experiential differentiation is the result of actual experience in universe ministry.
Okay, so basically what they're telling us here is this. When adjusters are first created, virgin adjusters, they're not created. They're fragments of God, so they don't period.
Oh, you froze.
But when they're fragmented and become initial adjusters, they're fragments of God, of divinity, exactly the same. And that's important to understand, because soon as they leave Divinington, okay, they start gaining experience. And once that moment happens and they start gaining experience, that's what this differentiation is talking about. They start gaining experience. So every single adjuster becomes what? Unique, because he's got a unique experience depending on what being, like even the beginning beings, experience they have, and what being they're going to end up to in after that first experience. So after they've gone through this first barbarian experience with people, right, then they become they're no longer considered virgin adjusted, and they get assigned to a human or a mortal that is capable of fusing with them. So on this first assignment, the beings are not capable of fusing with them, so they gain experience. On the second assignment, that's when they get assigned to worlds like ours, because we're a little bit more advanced. It's hard to believe sometimes, but that's when they are able to fuse. Go ahead, Gary.
I seem to remember reading somewhere that single-brained entities do not have adjusters. And
well, they
is
can
this
be
where the virgins would go?
They can be assigned adjusters. In other words, they wouldn't be able to fuse with an adjuster, but they could be assigned an adjuster, and that adjuster can gain experience helping them. And many of these single brain beings go on to the mansion worlds and become fused with a spirit or a sun fragment. Okay. So that's why this is very, very important.
Roger.
So they can go on. Yeah, Gary. I mean, Rodney.
Obviously, the primitive man on our planet received virgin adjusters.
That's right. They did.
However,
this is
never come back to the planet that they served as a virgin adjuster.
Not to the same planet, Rodney. They're never reassigned to the same planet but once, right? So all our adjusters had experience on a different planet than ours before.
Oh.
Okay. So, I've heard this theory for years. People in meetings always say, well, you think these memories of past life experiences people say they have is from the adjuster. And I always say no, because the adjusters don't ever repeat to the same planet. Okay. So they wouldn't have memories of this planet from before, from the adjuster. So that's not a possibility. Now, you can't limit God. These adjusters may squeeze in some memories from a previous planet for these people and make them think that they've had a past life. In reality, they have not had a past life. We all start here. But okay, which is really interesting, because when you think about it, when you get to the mansion worlds and you actually get to the point where you fuse with your adjuster, they say that the memories of your adjuster, you start, I'm getting internet connections unstable again. Can you all still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So they say that, now I lost my train of thought.
Oh, when you fuse with the adjuster that you will on the mansion world,
you'll actually gain some of those memories from that very first experience of the adjuster as a virgin adjuster. So as your memory expands backwards with the adjuster, it also expands forward and gives you foresight, because the adjuster is what? Divinity, part of God. To God, there is no time. So God sees everything that's coming in the future and everything in the past. So as you fuse with these adjusters, you get a little taste of this divinity in the fact that you remember these things the adjuster did before he came to you, and you also get foresight on things to come in the future.
You know, Roger, I would think
Yeah.
that that could be extremely scary to some people. And it's wonderful to know that so that we could embrace that.
Yes, yes. Instead of being afraid of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Okay. So let's go on to the next one. So all the adjusters are like when they come out of Divinington and then they start gaining experience, right? Okay. And this is a little picture of the virgin adjusters, right? And it just restates the paragraph we just read. Okay. So this little picture of the virgin adjusters. All right. Advanced adjusters. Okay. Pam, would you take this one, please?
Sure. Number 2, advanced adjusters, those who have served one or more seasons with willed creatures on worlds where the final fusion takes place between the identity of the creature of time and an individualized portion of the spirit, local universe, manifestation of the third source and center.
Okay. So this is what we were just talking about. These advanced adjusters have served, it says 1 or more seasons. Do y'all see that? So the adjusters could serve with more than one being on one of these primitive planets. So that's what they're saying here, 1 or more seasons. So on the advanced, pardon me?
Just something dawned on me. I had a problem and I figured it out. And
okay.
let me explain it. So in case somebody out there
right.
was thinking the same thing. I'm saying, where in the heck do all these adjusters get all this experience before they come to see the individual entities that are capable of advancing, like us and people,
right.
other entities elsewhere, okay?
Yeah.
And, that's a lot of people, entities.
Yeah.
And yet they got to get experience. So what you're saying is they get their initial experience from entities that are not advanced enough to advance. So they go bombing around with them and they spend the lifetime with one of their lifetimes with them, and they'll come around and they'll say, okay, I'm ready for Joe Blow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
but you got to remember, Gary, these are fragments of God the Father. God the Father has no time, right? All the future and all the past are all the same to him. So it makes no difference to him or the adjusters that they spend a whole lifetime with one of these barbaric individuals, okay? Mm-hmm. Because they're going to be doing something anyway. So to them, it's not a spend a whole lifetime with a barbarian or somebody that's not advanceable. Now, some of these beings are advanceable, but they cannot fuse with the adjuster. And that's what they're talking about in here. These creatures that are not fusible with a father fragment, because this is a fragment deity God. Okay, think of it this way. When they say a fragment of God, it's a fragment of the deity of God also. And what is God? God is spirit. God is not mortal. God is not Urantia, but God is spirit. Okay. So if you think about it, you can look at it this way. To God, only the spirit reality is real. Does that make sense? Because that's what he lives within. But when he sends a fragment of himself through the adjuster to each and every one of us to live inside us, what does that do? That makes us spirit, quote, quote, beings as human. You understand that? Do you understand the significance of this? So we're not only living in the material dimension, but we have a portion of us that lives in the spirit dimension simultaneously with us. We don't have a recognition of the spirit dimension. We don't have a recognition of the Urantia dimension in this life. But as soon as we move into the Urantia life, we are closer akin to what? The spirit dimension. And that means we can hear, understand, God can speak directly to us through these thought adjusters since we get to the dimension worlds. You follow me? Mm-hmm. So because of this spiritual connection, this thought adjuster, when we fuse with it, automatically guides us to the Father. Okay? There's no way he can't do that. He is the Father. Makes sense?
Yeah.
So in this life, we have a spiritual part of us, right? Any way you look at it. So it's important to understand that. All right. On this paragraph, they're talking about advanced adjusters, which is the adjusters we get, right? And we eventually fuse with these adjusters, okay? And those who cannot fuse with these adjusters either get a fragment from the third source and center or a fragment from the creator son. Now we're going to get into these real in depth, but I want to mention one thing. Those who get a fragment of the creator son become citizens of the local universe only. You follow me? So they don't go on to paradise normally, unless something magnificent happens to them. Okay, so they stay permanent citizens of the local universe, and that way the local universe always has a permanent citizenship that advance from mortals. You with me?
So they help the mortals advance?
Yes, they'll help everyone come along. They serve just like we do. The difference is because they don't.
Oh, you're frozen.
You froze.
Jeez.
They do, but the majority of them stay in the super universe. So the super universe ends up having a permanent citizenship of mortals from all the local universes that stay as citizens of the super universe, as their spirit fuse. So that's how you need to go on.
You're skipping out bad.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
A problem.
What's it?
You might have answered my question. You said sun fuse stay within the universe. I think spirit fuse.
Yeah, unmute so we can hear you.
Stay within the super universe. Is that correct?
Are you saying?
You want me to mute?
So bad today.
Advanced adjusters.
There we go. That way we can hear you speak.
Okay.
So you can
Oh, I don't have to mute it anymore? Okay.
just leave it unmuted.
All right.
You don't
All
have
right.
to mute it. Okay. What were you saying, Rodney?
What about spirit fused?
Everybody's frozen. Hang on, Rodney. Let me stick my other earphone on. Froze up on.
I can hear you. Yeah.
I can hear it now.
He can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
He's not moving at all in this picture.
Rodney, can you hear me?
Now I can.
Yeah, I'm moving at all.
I can hear you now.
Okay. All right, we came back. When I got yeah, bad connect.
Yeah, you do.
Why is that? I mean, because we.
On this,
Diane,
on one of them again.
you
Yeah.
never freeze, Diane.
Because I couldn't connect to Facebook on the Macintosh.
He freezes up, but you don't.
Yep. On the Mac. Windows-based one, but because the Macintosh won't let me in with my password. It's all technical stuff. I just have to work out getting. I thought I had it all worked out so that all my passwords were coming through. Really not. It's still giving me an internet unstable on computer. So we'll just keep going. Like it's not going. I'll hear myself talk. We talked about.
There's a delay when you speak.
Yeah.
And you don't want me to mute you. I'm unmuting now. Anymore?
Let's go on to this one. Yeah, I know. Here we go. There you go. It's picking it back up again. Okay, so here we go. This is a picture. Advanced adjusters. And so I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
Hearing myself. Next one. We'll get the important stuff here. Okay. Okay, supreme adjusters. This is the next one. Supreme adjusters. Let's have Gary. Would you read this one?
Yep. All ready?
Yeah.
Number 3, supreme adjusters, those monitors that have served in the adventure of time on the evolutionary worlds, but whose human partners, for some reason, denied eternal survival.
Decline.
And those that have been subsequently assigned to other adventures in other mortals on other evolving worlds. A supreme adjuster, though no more divine than a virgin monitor, has had more experience, can do things in the human mind which a less experienced adjuster could not do.
Okay. So this needs explanation. Supreme adjusters. Okay. Supreme adjusters.
Sure.
Fusion beings available that have chosen not to survive for one reason or another. You know, it says in the Urantia book that all of us have to sooner or later about survival.
I can't understand.
It's a bad situation today.
I hear you way off the background.
Believe.
Yeah, he can't see. He can't hear you. He said you're off in a distant kind of way.
I think
there's a delay when you talk.
Okay, let me change microphones again on this one. There probably is.
I wonder with all the new stuff we've got, why that's happening.
Yeah.
I don't wonder. I've done everything I can, everything possible to make this work. Hey, now we're back. Rio, do y'all hear me any better?
Yep, sort of.
To talk as loud.
No, it's still cutting off.
We're cutting in and out. Diane never does. You do. That's weird.
If I shut it down on this one, I'm gonna lose Facebook.
Well,
let's take the chief. The host back to my Mac again. Reclaim host. Okay. Unmute that. Start my video here. Let me mute this one. Mute this. Start my video here.
Now you sound good.
Now we good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fingers
People
crossed.
of Facebook, if I lost you, I am sorry. I'm trying to technically make this work. So.
Yeah, now.
Are we okay?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like it should be.
Okay. Let's go back here and close this. All right. Let me reshare the screen so y'all can see a little bit better, and we'll go on from here.
Makes me wonder, with a supreme adjuster, perhaps there's been some really great people on this planet who they could take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Great musicians, leaders.
Yeah, that's true. That makes perfect sense, Rodney.
You're saying, Rodney, that you think some of our leaders and that stuff may have advanced adjusters as a
well, maybe not present leaders, but just great people in the past.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot the quality of our leaders, so I say great people. That's a better term.
Exactly.
Yep.
If everything was supposed to work like it's supposed to, that should be the case, right?
Yeah.
All right, but that seems to be not the case, right? We were on Supreme Adjusters, right? Okay. All right. So they're talking about how the Supreme Adjusters gain more experience by having experience previously before they come to an individual. Now, the point I wanted to make about this too, I hope this is still working on Facebook here. There's no way for me to know this. But the Supreme Adjusters is the type of adjuster, or an advanced adjuster would be the type of adjuster that they would have used during the revelation. Okay, because that type of adjuster would be more likely to be able to communicate, not disturbing the person that it is talking through. Okay, so that's why that's important. Did we lose Gary completely?
No, Gary's right here. You're just
still there. Okay.
Here's the deal. Biden called me and he wanted me to mute my picture to beautify America.
Okay, that's a new one. Okay, let's go on to the next pair. Here's a picture of the Supreme Adjuster. Liar. Okay. All right. The next is the vanished adjuster.
Oh my.
Adjusters. All right, which is kind of interesting. Jane, are you out there in La La Land somewhere? I don't see a picture of you either. I just think you're still there.
I am here though.
Constantly.
Okay.
He's hiding in the trees.
Okay, would you take the next one?
Sure.
Try not to skip over anybody.
Okay. 4, vanished adjusters. Here occurs a break in our efforts to follow the career of the mystery monitors. There is a 4th stage of service about which we are not sure. The Melchizedeks teach that the 4th stage adjusters are on detached assignments, roaming the universe of universes. The solitary messengers are inclined to believe that they are at one with the first source and center, enjoying a period of refreshing association with the Father himself. And it is entirely possible that an adjuster could be roaming the master universe simultaneously with being at one with the omnipresent Father.
Okay. This is kind of interesting because we're talking about adjusters that have done some type of service, right? Either in a primitive person or even as a regular being like we are that chose not to go on. You know, a lot of people go through this planet, live this life, never make a decision of faith that they will survive. So guess what happens? They don't survive. Okay.
So what is a fourth stage adjuster?
A fourth stage adjuster, well, it says right here that they're not even sure.
Okay.
Okay. So this may have been an adjuster that served with a human being that didn't survive, and they reassigned them to another human being, and that a human being didn't survive either, made a choice not to. So they are detached from assignments. And then it says here they could be roaming the universe of universes. And the solitary messengers believe that they are at one with the first source and center, just enjoying the Father himself, because they've gained personality experience. You see why? That Father fragment is still a Father fragment, but it's different than all the rest of the Father fragments because of why? Experience. It's gained experience. So it makes it different than the others. Okay. So that's why they think it's one with God the Father. Right? Okay.
Roger?
You plug out. Yes.
The universe of universes, that's a central universe, right?
Right, right. The central universe. So this would be the dwelling place of God the Father, correct? And it would also include what? Havona, because Havona is part of the universe of universes. Okay. All right. So that's what vanished.
So Roger,
yes.
Whose personality would a vanished adjuster have?
It would have the aggregate of personality that was provided by God the Father, but it would also have the experience of the beings that this adjuster had indwelled during their lives. So the personality that God the Father gave to them would come back to God the Father with the experience of those who it had indwelled. Okay. So that's the difference. It would have a gain in personality, if you would. Make sense?
Yeah.
Love that phrase, enjoying a period of refreshing association with the Father himself.
Right. That's right.
Could that
well, we're back on Facebook because it says the meeting is now streaming live on Facebook. So it reconnected. So hopefully it's not two different videos, but it might be for them.
No, it's the right one, Roger. I checked.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Gary.
Could those adjusters that were be rephased? God, I'm a senior moment. Never mind. I forgot everything. My mind went.
Gary, I've went through this 3 times today, so don't feel bad.
I'm sorry. I've got a birthday coming up. That justifies it.
Yeah, if it comes back, you just say so, and I'll take your question. All right, so here is the vanished adjuster. Did you notice it kind of them vanishing off into Ever and Everland, wherever that is? All right.
Vanished adjusters. That sounds sad.
All right.
There is a slight delay, Roger.
Is there? Okay. All right.
Not big though.
Okay, so y'all did see the vanished adjuster picture here, right?
Yes.
Okay. Next, we got liberated adjusters. And these aren't women who've liberated themselves. Just to let y'all know, you know.
Female adjusters.
Female adjusters, right? These are something totally different. All right, here, let's have somebody read this one. Gary, did you just read or not?
Yes, he did.
He did.
A
Okay,
while
well, it's
back,
yours.
but not.
Then.
I don't know if I'm in link or not. I have
Okay,
read once.
it's Diane's turn then.
Okay.
Okay.
5, liberated adjusters. Those mystery monitors that have been internally liberated from the service of time for the mortals of the evolving spheres. What functions may be theirs, we do not know.
Okay, so these are adjusters that's been released or liberated from service for mortals, and these adjusters are assigned other tasks, and they don't even know what these are. So that's why they're called liberated adjusters. They're not assigned to human beings any longer. So
Interesting.
yeah. And here are the liberated adjusters. And notice that the liberated adjusters compared to the other adjusters, notice that these adjusters have a white inside. The liberated adjusters don't have anything inside. You see that?
Yeah.
So they're totally different. Let me do it behind them here too, so that people can see that. See, the inside of them, it's empty. So I don't know if they dumped their trust for something else. Who knows? So then we go on to a very important one. Oops, skipped over it. Fused adjusters. Here we go. Y'all should see that coming up shortly here, I hope.
Yeah, I see it.
All right. Not coming up on mine. Boy, this is really delayed in here. I got a real problem with this Windows-based machine. Okay, we're going to get this straightened out, and we'll just do this on the Macintosh from now on, because it seems to be the only one that keeps the connection. Okay. Fused adjusters. Rodney, I believe you're up.
Yes, or finalators. Those who have become one with the ascending creatures of the super universes, the eternity partners of the time ascenders of the paradise core of the finality. Thought adjusters ordinarily become fused with the ascending mortals of time. And with such surviving mortals, they are registered in and out of Ascendington. They follow the course of ascendant beings. Upon fusion with the ascending evolutionary soul, it appears that the adjuster translates from the absolute existential level of the universe to the finite experiential level of functional association with an ascending personality, while retaining all of the character of the existential divine nature. A fused adjuster becomes indissolubly linked with the ascending career of a surviving mortal.
Okay, so this is us. We will eventually fuse with our adjusters, and we will eventually make it to paradise and become finalators. Okay, and when that happens, we become ascenders of the paradise core of finality. Okay, when that happens, we get registered in and out of Ascendington instead of Divinington. But you know, the adjuster goes from Divinington, but once it's fused with an ascending mortal, it never goes back to Divinington again. Okay, from that moment on, it always calls Ascendington, because we're ascending up the scale. Okay, so ascendingdom becomes our home. All right, paradise home. All right, and that's because this fusion of with the soul of evolutionary mortals. Okay, so it's interesting here. They say that the existential defined nature of the fused adjuster becomes indissolubly linked. In other words, once we fuse with that adjuster, there is no possible way that you can separate the adjuster from the personality of the person. Okay, so.
And that should surely help us throughout time.
It should, yes, it surely should. Okay. I think we may have just lost our other part of the recording because it's trying to reconnect here. Let me see here. I've never had this much technical difficulty. It says it's still recording. Okay. So anyway, the fused adjuster never is separated again from the human beings. And that's why we're part of the core of finality. All right. Never again do we separate from this adjuster. So what does that mean to us individually? That means we not only have a divine fragment within us, but if you think about it, when you fuse with that adjuster, you become part of God the Father, part of divinity. Does that make sense? So this is why they call us real sons and daughters of God at that point of fusion. Because once we fuse, you can never be separated again. So you automatically become a son of God, just as if you think of Jesus as being a son of God. He was created a son of God. He's divine. Okay. So when we fuse, we become divine and become a son of God as a brother to Jesus.
Or sister.
Or sister to Jesus, right? Okay. So you can see why this stuff is so important. And there we are. Let me kind of get this one up here on this one too, so they can see it behind me. Okay, here we are. Let me point out a couple things. All right. It says, upon fusion with the ascending revolutionary soul, it appears that the adjuster translations from the absolute existential level of the universe to the finite experiential level of functional association with the ascending personality, while retaining all the character of the existential divine. Okay. Nature, and a fused adjuster becomes indissolubly linked with the ascending career of ascending mortal. So here we are, right? This is on mansion world number 6. Most everybody fuses by mansion world number 6. Okay, it normally happens on 5, but by 6, most everybody does. Okay, and here we have a man and a woman with their adjusters, and when they fuse, they become a single entity of the fusion. You follow me? That's what this picture is. So at that point, they're a fused being, they're a real son or daughter of God. And then at that point, these beings can go to the world of the spirit because of this divinity. Okay? You get rights, you get a passport to get in there. All right? So it's just part of your progression along the heavenly pathway, or the pathway for mortals. All right, let's keep going. Let's see who's up next. Pam, I think you're up next.
Okay. 7, personalized adjusters. Those who have served with incarnated paradise sons, together with any who have achieved actual distinction during the mortal dwelling. But those subjects rejected survival. We have reasons for believing that such adjusters are personalized on the recommendations of the ancients of days of the super universe of their assignment.
Okay, this is what we talked about last time a little bit when we were talking about how Jesus's adjuster served with Melchizedek, and then he served with Jesus. And since they were incarnated paradise sons, right, they were not able to fuse with these adjusters because they were already sons of God. Does that make sense to y'all?
Yeah.
The magisterial sons and the creator sons are already sons of God, so they can't fuse with an adjuster. It's just impossible. They already have.
Point we read that Jesus fused with his adjuster.
No, Jesus never fused with his adjuster. The time of his fusion would have been at his baptism. Okay. He did not fuse with his adjuster because it was impossible for him to fuse with his adjuster. And the same thing with magisterial sons. It's impossible for them to fuse with the adjuster. The same thing with Melchizedek. When Melchizedek came to the planet, they had to give him an adjuster because he was made human, but he was already a local universe son of God on a high level, so he was not able to fuse with the adjuster either. Okay, so that's why that adjuster was freed, and that experience of that adjuster passed on to Jesus. Okay, and it's important to understand when Jesus's adjuster was personalized, all the experience of Jesus was reincarnated in this personalized adjuster. Okay, now from his baptism on, this adjuster stayed alongside Jesus through the rest of his bestowal. That's important you understand that, because those 3 years, about 3 years that Jesus did his ministry, Jesus did his ministry wholeheartedly as a human being, okay, without an adjuster. The adjuster was always there with Jesus as a personalized adjuster, so that the adjuster could also experience all that went on with Jesus. Not only that, but when Jesus turned to talk to God the Father, guess who he was talking to? The personalized adjuster, right? So remember Jesus' first miracle, turning water into wine. Remember that, everybody?
So Roger, was there an exception here? Because that would be on the same planet that thought adjuster was.
Yeah, but that is a personalized adjuster. That's not another adjuster that goes out to the planet to serve again in another human being. You see the difference?
He was personalized through Melchizedek.
He was personalized from Jesus, but he had experience with Melchizedek. He was still just an advanced adjuster. So when he went to Jesus, he was an advanced adjuster. Actually, when he went to Jesus, he was so advanced that he could not literally fuse with another human being. Why? Because he had experienced divinity through Melchizedek. Right?
Okay, I understand. Yeah.
It would have been too much for a normal human brain to comprehend the things that he would be trying to teach him as a regular, everyday Joe Blow mortal, right?
Interesting.
Yeah. So since he was so advanced, they gave him to Jesus. Let him gain experience with Jesus. And then at that point, they made him personalized him. And they probably do the same exact thing with every single creator son, all 700,000 of them. But it's important for us to understand that the adjuster didn't leave Jesus at the baptism. Okay. He stayed right there with him. So when he went out on his mission a few months later and went to the wedding, and his mother ran up and said, "We're out of wine." And then he looked at her and said, "Mother, what has this to do with me?" Okay. That was his normal human response, right?
What have I to do about that?
Yeah. What am I to do about it? Right. I'm Jesus, your son. But she sensed the miraculousness within him. And so when she kept asking him, he said, "If it be my Father's will." Right? So who is he talking to? He was talking to a personalized adjuster. right? So the personalized adjuster, all he had to do is think it, and then all the mechanical controllers, the physical controllers went to work and created wine from water. And it surprised Jesus himself. Do you understand why he was surprised?
Roger, I thought that I had read that he was emotionally caught up with Mary's request, and his love for her poured out, and that's why it was created. He didn't mean to do a miracle.
He created it after he said, if it be my Father's will. That's important that you understand that, because he literally said, he was following his bestowal, wasn't he? Because he was doing everything according to the will of God the Father. So when he said that, it was the Father's will that it happened. So anything a creator son thinks or wants happens immediately. Okay? Because he's a creator son. You can't stop it. So since it was the will of the Father that had happened, his creator prerogatives took over. And what happened? All the mechanical controllers and physical controllers made wine out of water.
The best
wine out of water. And that's why he was taken aback, because he didn't really will it himself. He willed that the Father's will be done. So through that process, boom, it happened. Okay.
I wish I had some of that.
Yeah.
Good wine.
All right. And this is where we're going to have to quit for tonight, because I'm out of time. I am so sorry we had so many interruptions tonight with technical problems. I'm going to try to get these worked out before Sunday morning again, and we'll try to just do the meeting on the Macintosh, because I can't get this Apple or this other machine to stay connected to save my life for some reason. I've done everything I humanly know, and I'm a pretty good techie to make this work, and it just doesn't seem to want to work. So we'll go to the Macintosh, and I'll have to get all these passwords associated with the Macintosh straightened out. So, but we'll get it to work one way or another. Okay. So we'll see everybody that's coming Sunday morning, and those who aren't, come on Thursdays. See you Thursday, and those on Tuesday, we'll see you Thursday. I hope I'm not confusing everybody with all these different lessons. So anyway, let's stop the share here, if I can do it on this Mac. And let's have a little prayer for tonight. Close it out, prayer. Lordy, Lordy, Lordy. Sorry to everybody. I really apologize for all these interruptions. Let's see, Jane, would you like to close this tonight? Yeah, and close this in a while.
Sure. We give you thanks for this hour. In spite of all the difficulties, the message still comes across. We thank you. We thank you for the thought adjuster who is with us, within us, and inspire us, perhaps even unknowingly, with patience and perseverance. We thank you for the revelation. We thank you for the love of the Universal Father and the love and perfection of his creation. We ask your blessing, Jesus, and to guide us along the way as we try our best to seek and to search after the truth. We ask this, and we thank you for each member that is also seeking and walking with us through this journey. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Jane.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Y'all out there, hang in there with me. We will get all these technical problems worked out one way or another. So, so please be patient with me. I'm sorry. So we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Roger.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
See you all.
Mm-hmm.